Welcome
Yo,
to another episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding. And today in the booth, we have Kyle Suhadolnik, aka Northwest Skateplate. And he has been a homie of Mountain Vibes for many, many years. And we're so stoked to have him. He is honestly, a good homie that I never was able to like connect with when I was down there. And I was down there for a long time, but he knows all the homies down there. And it's going to be super sick to get to be able to talk to him. Kyle, how's it going? And how was your day today?
so good, my dog. It is,
Yeah.
the day was good, life is good, and living the dream, baby, living the dream.
So I wasn't able to ask you when we were kind of chatting before we came on the air. Well, what do you do for work, dude?
I'm an electrician, so commercial
Okay.
electrician. Yeah,
I could use you up here, dude. Got some
yes,
issues
sir.
here. Sure.
Hey, anytime, man, anytime.
Yeah.
I'm always down for the work.
And you currently you are in Salem, Oregon, which is
Yes.
super cool to hear. I love it.
Yep, yep.
Nice.
Birthplace of Lamar Snowboards.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Salem is cool, dude. You know, Salem is close to my mortal enemy, the Oregon State Beavers.
Hey, you're a duck guy.
I am. I graduate. I went to Oregon. That's my alma mater, dude. So
Wild.
yeah. So you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go to college down there?
I went to, no, not down here. I went to college up in Walla Walla.
That's okay. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So, you know, you were kind of saying, you know, you were in the Tri-Cities area, Walla Walla area when you started to get into snowboarding. Talk about like your childhood and, you know, where you grew up and how you got into this sport that we all love.
Yeah, so I grew up in Tri-Cities, skateboarding as a kid. Did that for, I mean, I still skateboard, but I started skateboarding when I was 10 years old, and did that for many years till I was 17. I found snowboarding. I didn't have the best childhood, but made it work. I mean, my parents or my mom did everything that she could and provided. My stepdad is pretty awesome too. But so in my teenage years, I just did whatever I could to get out of the house, and that was skateboarding. So that was like my first love. And then 17, my buddy took me snowboarding at Bluewood, and I think it was my second or third time I had it pretty figured out, and I had my first pow day. And I just remember riding through the trees, and it felt like I was riding on a cloud, and just the ground. You have such a deep powder day that your board never hits a hard surface, and you just keep going and going. And that was the day I fell in love with snowboarding. And it was shortly after that I found terrain parks and got into rails and jumps, and then that just translated straight over from skateboarding, and it became one of the most important things in life was snowboarding for a long time. It was my happy place, my escape from reality, I guess you could say. You know, nothing matters when you're strapped in. So
Yeah.
besides what you're doing. So it was a huge part of life for a long time. So
Yeah. Well, that sounds super similar to me, dude. I also started out skating. Um,
nice.
yeah, we had a local homie, um, Tom Whistler, a shout out. Honestly, I don't know if Tom is still around or not, but he was the founder of the Cave Junction skate park. And
Really?
it was basically an asphalt slab. And he built a wooden mini pipe. He built some quarter pipes, built some ramps, couple rails and stuff like that in the pipe. And basically that's why I was into it, dude. Like I used to start out on my driveway back in Cave Junction and would just like I got my skate deck. My first skate deck was a PAL, just blank deck, a
Nice.
skateboard. I don't even remember the dimensions or anything like that, but I knew I had a PAL skate deck and adventure trucks and Spitfire wheels. And I think Spitfire bindings too.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so that was kind of like the kid that I rocked for the longest time until, I kind of gave that up during, my college years and stuff like that and kind of
Okay.
transitioned into snowboarding. But dude, talk about skating. What was the influence that skating had onto your snowboarding? And I also want to know, like, what was your first skate deck? Do you remember your first skate deck?
I do remember my first skateboard was a Veriflex. It was not very good, but it got the job done. I loved it. I skated it for, I think that board lasted. That's probably my longest lasting skateboard I ever had. I think I had it for about a year. And I actually broke my arm on that board jumping off. I used to skate on my parents' front porch, and it was all wooden, so you could grind the ledge and then you could ollie off of it. They had a little forced air on it. And I was trying to do a 360 flip off of it, and my board shot out, and I went to catch myself, and I snapped my arm in half. It was pretty wild. But yeah, Veriflex full setup. I think at the time they were like Veriflex trucks and wheels. But and then shortly after that, I got into blind skateboards. Big fan of blind back in the day. And then I think I've always skated independent trucks and Bones or Spitfire wheels. So big fan of Spitfire growing up. But nowadays it's Indies and Bones for life pretty much nowadays as I get older. But skateboarding was like a huge, I'm always skateboarded as long as I've been snowboarding. So my skateboarding really influences my snowboarding. I think that I'm always out there trying to do skateboard tricks on a snowboard. And then a lot of people say that my skateboarding reminds them of, they can tell that I snowboard by my skateboarding.
Yeah.
So, because I do them both so often. And one thing that I liked about doing both was when I would snowboard all winter, and you hit, 30, 40-foot jumps, and you're hitting big 20 to 30-foot long rails in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, I would jump on my skateboard, and the skate park just felt so small. So you could just absolutely send everything. I got really good at skateboarding once I started snowboarding. But which also in turn, I'd get back on a snowboard in the winter, and it would transfer right back over because I'd have all these ideas in my head of all these tricks I was learning or working on concrete. And I want to transfer them on over to the snow. So they both kind of correlated throughout my life and give me lots of different ideas of how to do different things or different ideas of tricks or even seeing people do things on both. I think
Yeah.
one of my biggest influences in life was Scott Stevens. So shout out to that guy, true legend. So I think he's from Western Massachusetts, but he actually lives here in Portland. So, and rides Mount Hood a lot when he's not traveling. So
Yeah.
he's a Capita guy, OG. Been pro since I was early 20s, teenager. So, but yeah, and I just super influenced by that. And then one thing I love about mountain vibes was a big thing. It doesn't matter how good you are as long as you're out there trying and having fun. And that was a big thing for me at the skate park growing up was hyping each other up. You're hanging out with your homies, you're chilling. I was never turned on by the guys that are super, assholes to the kids or, not welcoming. It happened to me as a young kid and I didn't like it. So I was always very welcoming. And then now I consider myself to be a core snowboarder, but at the same time, I like to bridge that gap and bring people in and allow them to progress like I did. Somebody gave me an opportunity one time and that changed my life. So I like to do that too.
Yeah. I just like to see everybody supporting themselves and support each other, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
When
100%.
you mentioned Sleepy Stevens, that's like my sleeper favorite snowboarder. Like just the whiz, like there's a reason why I shout him out on Mountain Vibes pages all the time
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
the wizard. Like
He is. Yeah.
it's one of the only guys that I could say like is a wizard of snowboarding. Like I look at his stuff and he's out at like the water tank and he's out at the Gypsy Island and doing this stuff and he's at the rope toe and doing all this stuff and I'm just like, holy shit, dude, like this guy is hood. I love to see that he lives, like you said, he lives down, sandy Gresham area and Bren Diesel talks about it all the time on the bottle. Like Scotty is one of his best friends. And he just loves to see, like, he'll just like be out in his fucking trampoline doing crazy shit on like a skate deck with no wheels and stuff and flipping stuff around. And he's like, hey, and his
So
kids come
wild.
out and they're stoked on it, dude. Like,
Mhm.
and that's like, I have, that, and that was something else I wanted to talk to you about. Like, you're a newer dad. I'm a newer dad. I have two toddlers. I have a daughter and a son, about 18 months apart. Um,
Nice.
but let's kind of talk about like do you have a son or a daughter?
Yeah, I have a son, a boy. His name's Montgomery. Call him Monty.
Monty,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah. Yes, sir.
How's that been, dude? How old is he? And what is it like being this when we live in these areas, whether it be Mount Hood or here in Idaho, in North Idaho, like in the winter, you gotta be on snow if you want to be happy, dude. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So being a dad and doing all that kind of stuff, what's it kind of been like so far for you? And how have you like kind of managed being like a badass snowboarder and also being in the dad life and taking care of your son?
Balance, man. It was, having Montgomery was life changing, but in the best ways. I had my first kid when I was, shoot, I'm 37 now. So he's a year and a half. So I was 35, 36.
That's so funny, dude. You and I are the same age.
It was I had the opportunity to travel and do basically chase my snowboarding dream for years. So it was super easy for me to switch gears and go straight into dad mode and be able to give him the opportunities that I am and intend on doing in the future. But like you said, it's blood. Snowboarding is life. So before he was even standing, or when he was learning how to stand up, I put a skateboard underneath his feet. And my intention was double-edged sword of let's get this like ingrained in his mind, but also if I have him on a skateboard when he's learning how to stand, when I take that skateboard out, standing is going to be even easier for him. And then we had him walking by the time he was one. I think he was like 1 in 5 or 6 days, and he was walking through the house. But at 8 months, I strapped him into a snowboard and he was cruising, doing his own. I think the farthest he got at 8 months old was like 30 feet without falling. So that was pretty rad. And my favorite part is he absolutely loves it. So he sits in the living room and will play with his skateboard for hours. And every time we go to the mountain, he just has an absolute blast. He loves to play in the snow, loves to actually ride. The last time we went up, though, he did not have a good time because it was cold. It was cold as shit, and he was not a happy camper.
Yeah.
But so we just went and played in the snow and enjoyed it. But I was very fortunate that my fiance, we're not quite married yet, but I call her the wife, but technically she's not quite my wife yet. But we're procrastinators, is what the problem is.
Yeah.
Uh, she loves snowboarding too, and she loves park as well, too, terrain parks as well. She's a fiend for the rails right now.
Nice.
But yeah, it's super cool. So having that is pretty awesome because we can take turns. She wants to go every weekend. I want to go every weekend. So we kind of had a conversation when we had him, like, hey, let's give this kid the best life that we can. We can work our Monday through Friday jobs, but when the weekend comes, let's not change anything about our life. And let's
Yeah.
just keep doing what we're doing, and we're just going to take him along with us. Granted, it's a little easier with one kid. I imagine it's going to slow down after we have two, or when they get older and get into sports and stuff. We were very big on we're going to the skate park, we're going to the mountain, we're going to go be active, go on hikes, do stuff with our kid. So, and give him the best childhood possible because you know, we both have the mindset of do dope shit, live a badass life. It's on you to do that. You can't wait for it to happen for you. You got to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we did the same thing with our kid as we did before we had him. So it's been pretty rad. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I think it brings more. I have more joy watching him figure it out than landing new tricks myself these days.
Yeah, that's
So
super cool to hear, dude, because I literally had the same feeling last weekend. I took my daughter out for the first time this season, kind of her third. Well, since she was 9 months old, she had been going up to the mountain, but going to daycare, right? And I
yeah,
took her a
yeah,
couple times last season, got her out on just kind of in the village and the bunny hill and stuff last season. But
I
this season, dude, holy moly, she was freaking killing it. I could like hold her in the spot and she would just cruise down. And I'd be like, hey, go that way. And she would look over that way and she'd go that way. And then I would be like, go that way. She would look over that way and go that way. Just the simplest shit, dude. You know what I mean?
so
Like,
rad.
I didn't even tell her how to do body mechanics. All I had to say was like, just look that way. And she did it with her knees and her ankles. And she would do a toe side turn and a heel side turn and a heel side turn. And she'd go back and forth. And she was loving it, dude. She was going insane. She was giggling everywhere. She had no fear. And it was like, that is like literally better than a freaking cow turn to me right now. You know what I mean? Like just seeing her, because I know if I make it a great experience for her and for my son one day when he gets out on the hill. He's a little young right now, but once that time comes, like they're going to be my homies, if I make it fun for them and I don't like try to pressure them or do any of that kind of stuff, it'd be like, for
Dude, one of
sure.
my best friends in high school was a October 20s, so
Nice.
he always, I'm older than you for a day. And then I always told him when we were in high school, I was like, dude, one day this is going to backfire and I'm going to be on the winning side of this thing. So
Right.
every year now, when Facebook tells, or like, oh, it's this guy's birthday, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
he was older now.
that's right, dude.
I'm loving it.
um, Dude, I kind of wanted to rewind really quick. You grew up at Bluewood. Friend of Let's Talk Snowboarding, who actually kind of was helped launch like a rebirth of this podcast. Her name's Jessica Wolfenden.
Okay.
Um, Now she lives up here in Post Falls, Idaho. But she was kind of down there at the same time as you, and I kind of wanted to ask you if you ever like ran into her
I
when you
don't
were down. Ever
think
heard of
so.
her?
It's her name sounds familiar to be honest, but I don't know if I ever really hung out with her or really got to know her. But
Okay.
she sounds familiar. I imagine some of my homegirls back home absolutely probably know her.
Yeah.
So they got like a
She's
whole girl gang down there.
she's a crazy talented videographer, photographer, like digital creator. Like she literally taught me how to edit when I first started doing the podcast and stuff. Like I literally can't thank her enough for helping me out with DaVinci Resolve and showing me that whole thing. So yeah, for sure, dude.
Do you do a lot of filming while you're on hill too?
I try to, dude.
Yeah.
Lately it's been kind of rough. I really would rather to filming in the powder. I'm down to film like park days and just like clip up some reels or some stories and stuff for some homies. But
Right.
really, my passion would be street and powder. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go to a street spot and build something, or I want to go out to a backcountry spot and build something, like film, like that kind of vibe and that kind of like timing and stuff
Yeah.
where you got to get out there, you got to set up, you got to build it, and you got to have it like framed up really nice. Park is cool too because park is just like you know getting out the GoPro and doing follow cams.
Yeah.
Maybe posting up at a knuckle or a rail or something and just doing stuff. But really, it's all about me. It's all about the steel and the powder and also just like local events, dude. Just like getting out there
Feel the
and
same.
yeah, for sure.
I feel the
For sure.
same because you get to spend time with your friends and like really vibe and have a good time and actually talk conversation, have a good, make memories. Some of my best memories are building street spots or building a spot, building a
Hmm.
jump out in the backcountry or just vibing out. It seems like a lot of people like the problem with park edits and like, or filming park these days is everybody just kind of wants to go, 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 go. And
Yeah.
nobody really takes the time to chat or think about tricks or anything. And one of my best friends for many years, his name is Chaz. Shout out to Chaz Seidel. Um, he told me one time, he goes, dude, slow the down, dude. Like, let's stop. Let's talk. Let's talk about what we're going to do on this next rail or we're going to do on this next jump. And I was like, light bulb just popped off. And I've been doing that ever since he said that to me one time. And I was just like, man, it is so much nicer to take your time or when you're riding park, but also to, that's who I honestly rode the most street with. We've built so many rails, so many spots. And, that was what we did. And living in Tri-Cities, you're 2 hours from any mountain. So as soon as it snowed in town, why even go to the mountain? We're going to go build some rails in town, and you connect with your friends a lot more when you're out there in the thick of it. And shoveling snow sucks, dude. So when you're in the suck with each other, it builds that camaraderie, builds that friendship. So
yeah,
but
yeah, it's definitely just like, it's just so cool, man. I love every single thing that's going on right now. I love the streets. I love the influencers. I love the park edits. I love the backcountry. I like the mix of like the video parts that's going on right now. Like, because you can, it's hard to keep up with video parts right now. You have to be on your game and be like watching stuff all the time. But it's cool to be able to like go through a video part now and be like, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
That's fucking whack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and being a part of like the industry and everything and doing what we do, like, how it is, dude. Like, you're hood to your core, and it's just a necessity.
It's the cheapest snowboarding in the country too. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, a spring pass at Timberline is like $150 for 3 months of riding. Like, you cannot beat that, especially for having a world-class park or, as much terrain as they do have. It's amazing. So, and the camping vibes are where it's at too, because we always camp up on Road 39. So,
okay, I know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah,
for sure. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about lately at Hood, the vibes have been all time because you got the Carroll brothers. You got George with Friday doing his thing. You got Scotty Stevens out there all the time. He may travel, but he still lived to his core. And now you got the fucking Flip Report podcast doing stuff and bringing
Donovan
in the local reports. Donovan is the fucking shit, and he's and he's promoting the Sandy skate park and doing his thing.
Yeah.
Like, kind of talk about what the vibes have been lately. But I know that the rope tow isn't currently running, which is a bummer. But how's the season? How's the snowpack? How are the vibes down there right now?
Vibes are all time right now. It's the saddest part of my season right now is that the rope tow is not open yet.
Right.
But we just don't have the snow. Like, the snow line has been like in the middle of Timberline, just above Gubby. And so it's been dumping. Timberline has the deepest snowpack in America right now, but Ski Bowl right below it, right in town, is barely has enough to stay open. So I did see a post the other day. They put a couple snow guns down at the base area, so right next to the rope tow. So they should be able to blow enough snow over the next few weeks to push it over and open it up. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But as for the vibes, dude, Connor and Colton are freaking killing it. The Carroll brothers, absolutely. It's wild to watch those guys. Connor's working down he's on the Ski Bowl terrain park crew right now.
Yeah, so he left Lobster, which was kind of big
that was pretty wild. Did you watch that Hood Report?
Of course I did, dude. I've watched every single Hood Report since it came out. Donovan is man, dude. I love that guy.
Donovan's killing it.
I think he's killing it, dude. I wish, part of me is like, man, I wish I was still down at Hood and I could do that fucking podcast. But, we're doing our thing with mountain vibes and
absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
And then you got Hood Girls, Ari, which is like this whole community of women riding together. They have an Instagram page. She's doing meetups, and she shouts girls out. She's just like creating this whole women friendly girl gang vibe, which my girl is absolutely in love with. And it's super cool to watch.
That's been dope to see.
It's so cool to watch, dude, and be a part of too, because my girl's really good friends with her and a few other girls up there. So she's very enthralled in it and a part of it, which is really cool to see. I
Nice.
actually made Monty a Hood Girls hoodie the other day,
Okay.
and which was like he's supporting. I mean, I have almost every hoodie she's made as well, but to have one for Monty too, so we can all wear him as a family is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
But I low key, I was kind of like, Hood Girls, nobody's gonna know if he's a girl or a boy, but oh well,
Yep.
we're supporting the homie. I'm here for it. But
Support.
yep, and then you got Leif Chutch right here.
Yep.
Shout out Leif. Yeah, he's killing it, dude. Doing a bunch of filming. His writing has got insane. He's blowing up this year. He's getting so good. It's fun to watch, dude. Everybody kind of knows him for being a filmer and very core filmer. Like he uses like old school like tape cameras, like VXs and things that you don't really see anymore. Most people
Yeah.
are rocking GoPros or iPhones, and he stays to the core.
Nice.
Uses the old stuff, which is rad to see.
Yeah.
He's just been, super humble dude, and he's made so many awesome films, and um, he's been rocking it, doing a lot, and he works for BDK Board Shop, and all summer long he does BDK Thursdays. So they all show up to the local skate park, and they have hot dogs going and music, and they have a whole sesh with the community. So, and he kind of does the same thing on hill. It's not as prominent. Like it's not a dedicated, we're gonna link up and go ride, but if he's there, you're vibing, you're having a good time. I always see him at the yard, and it's the same thing, just hanging out, super positive, working on tricks together. So it's pretty
Nice.
cool. Um, and then George doing his thing, dude. He's coming out with new boards every year, and his business is
Yep.
growing, which is freaking rad. And I do miss the Friday night rope report that he was
Yeah.
doing for
Right.
a while, his first year.
I know that was sick.
That was pretty sick. That was super sick. That was a vibe, and I was there every Friday just to be there for it. That, and I was there every Friday anyways. But
Oh
and
yeah.
then you got DGS, Dive Scum, Lex. Shout out to that guy. He has been doing so much for the community of having events for the locals. He's doing mini putt, anything but a putter, playing mini golf. So you're out there with a wizard staff of beer cans or
Nice.
a crutch or just random things to a skateboard to hit your golf ball, and different people make different holes, and they make a whole mini putt course, which is pretty rad.
That's
Uh,
sick.
Race to rail, they do a race, a no holds bar race from Timberline down into Govey, and then have a little mini rail jam right there. He's got a whole list of events. He just came out with a new snowboard this year, and then which $270 for a brand new in the pocket snowboard, and it's a sick board.
Right.
I've had a couple of them, and that is top notch. I love his boards. And then, like he just got a couple sampler camber boards, and he just put them on his front porch and posted on the internet. Hey, come ride it, give me feedback, and just pass it on to the next person that wants to ride it. So he's got community snowboards floating around government camp right now that people are just riding. Oh, you need a snowboard? Cool, here you go. Pass it on to the next person when you're done with it.
Yeah, dude.
It's pretty all time. So Mount Hood's like, it's very the community is going hard right now, and everybody's
Good.
being super supportive of each other, and it's like a family up here, man. To be honest, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now. It's pretty
No,
amazing.
I can't tell you how
So,
much I miss it, dude.
oh yeah,
I can't tell you how much I miss it. I wish I was back there right now.
never too late to come back, brother.
Oh, I'll be back, dude. I want to be
uh,
back this spring for maybe for 4 to 7 days, and like go out and do like the spring summer pipe, do the
yeah,
spring summer parks, do all that stuff. Get into the flow. I would love it if I could get back and the flow park was open,
right,
and do that whole vibe. Because that's my favorite park that I've ever ridden. I just love
dude,
the
it's
flow park, dude. I
crazy.
love it so, 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 so much.
It's literally like a giant skate park with no
Yeah.
steel. Like I had never seen anything like that until the first time I dropped into that park when I first moved here. But it's always super late spring too. for some
Yep.
reason. But which is also like you hold out for it, you're like, oh man, I can't wait. But once you see those spray paint jumps going, you're like, all right, it's coming soon.
Yeah. Dude,
So
it was my favorite. Well, I guess it's probably around the same time that you started to be a Timberline, but do you remember Caleb Hamilton?
I don't think so. No,
So
I was in
Caleb
a pretty
Hamilton,
small crowd when I first moved here.
what year did you move up to Hood?
2018, I think.
Okay. So a little bit after I did. Um, so Caleb was a shaper, night
Okay.
crew at Timberline. And his handle on Instagram is Destoy Life. DESTOYLIFE. And if you ever like go check him out, dude, you'll see if you go and scroll back during that time, he is the creator of the float park because
Oh,
one
wow.
night he got inspired and he just started seeing all these shapes and stuff. And he talked about it when I talked to him, like, oh gosh, like 10 episodes ago. I think him and I were on the podcast because he was one of a good friend of mine because he used to do like these live streams at like 3 in the morning
Oh, that's
from
rad.
and he was in the cat up at Timberline, right? And so he was like doing the sunset rises and like
That's
doing the
sick.
sunrise, like all this stuff, dude. Like, and he was like up at the top of like Conways and he had shaped everything and done all this stuff. He was just like doing all this fucking cool shit and talking to everybody. And so I used to get up, like at 4:35 in the morning for my shift to run up from like Portland, Vancouver to go like for my teaching shift up at ski school. And every single time I would get on Instagram because I knew that Caleb was going to be live streaming and showing what the park was going to be like. And I could see
That's
what it was going
sick.
to be like. So if I had like somebody that wanted to go ride park in a lesson, I could be like, oh, dude, yeah, let's go fucking hit like this fucking side hit or something. And like we could progress you right here and we could hike it and do all this stuff. So, but
That's
yeah,
so
he
rad.
is the creator of the fucking blow park, dude. He's the man. But yeah,
That's cool.
so during that time, dude, it was just like it was all time. So you and I both we vibe with George, we vibe
Yeah.
with Uncle Andy and Morgan and the
Oh,
FA
yeah.
gang.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And Ian, um,
Ian, Pinky
friend of
Brigade.
friend of the podcast, Trent Saucedo, who is now like
Nice.
kind of like a friend of like Hood, a Bear Mountain local from Southern California, but the dude just he won't ever stop going to Hood in the summer.
Yeah.
He's just like about that vibe, and so you welcome him in with open arms with with whatever he's doing and stuff. But I wanted to kind of talk to you about some of your favorite moments up at Hood. Um, have you been up
Hi,
to
guys.
hey,
I'm in the middle of my podcast right now. Oh,
hit it. There we
speaking of being
go.
dad, say
Hey,
hi. Say
how are you
hi.
doing? What's up,
Oh,
buddy?
he just got home from school, from
There you
daycare.
go.
Some of my favorite times at Mount Hood, though. Shoot. Okay, you want to take him for a minute?
Won't be too much longer.
No, you're good. Some of my favorite times at Mount Hood. Shoot, dang. You know who I really miss seeing on Mount Hood? Did you ever get to meet Herman Neal?
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's hard to talk about.
Oh yeah. I miss that guy was a freaking vibe, man. I had some of my best times on Mount Hood with that guy.
That guy was a weapon.
Absolutely, dude. I met him at a rail jam in Tri-Cities called the TC Throwdown. Me and
Okay.
my friends would shovel snow out of the ice rink parking lot. They'd shave they'd Zamboni the ice, and then they would dump the ice out in the back parking lot, and we'd be sitting there with pickups ready to go. And then we'd haul it into downtown for like 2, 3 months, and then load it into this alley parking lot, and then throw tarps and carpet over it. And then in October, we'd build this scaffolding with a drop in, and then have this whole rail jam. And that dude came in and absolutely destroyed it one time. And I was like, afterwards, I was like, who the fuck are you, dude? And he just like nerdy with his thick ass glasses and his blonde afro. And I was like, it's like, that dude was wild, man. But
It's funny. I when I had C-Dub Casey Willax on the
yeah,
podcast, I asked him about Herman, and I didn't even know this that he moved out to Hood with Herman.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he moved out to Hood with Herman. He was one of those nor'easters, and
Yeah.
but they were homies when they were growing up, and then later to find out, like, a few years down the road, Jess Kimura was Casey's freaking roommate at the Scummets
No way.
one
That's
season, and he
sick.
didn't even know who Jess Kimura was. Like, he was
What?
like, "What?" But yeah, him and Herman were tight, dude. And I remember what kind of day it was. I think it was a powder day, and I saw Herman and Swabby um
Yeah.
out on the fucking hill, and I rolled up to him in a lift line one day. And the same with like Ian Smith and Morgan Smith. I met
Yeah.
them at the Ratskeller one day. We chilled at the one of the Red Bull tables at the Ratskeller and had a beer. But all those fucking guys, dude, Swabby, Herman, Ian, Morgan, those hood locals, yourself, dude, like, you've been so gracious with your time there to ride with each other and have fun and go down to Gubby and have a nice time. And, if you embrace the snowboard culture at hood, you're good.
Absolutely. And it's
But
memories
if,
you'll never forget. And it's friends that you'll have for a lifetime. So,
yeah, but
and a
if
lot of
you,
these guys, a lot of these big dogs that you're talking about are some of the most humble people you'll meet, which is pretty wild because one thing I've noticed, I've been snowboarding for 22 years, and you meet a lot of people that have inflated egos. And I was nervous when I came to Mount Hood because I was like, oh wow, all these guys are like pros or like really good. And almost every, or not almost every single dude we're talking about is some of the most humble people I've ever come across.
yeah,
So, and welcoming. So,
yeah,
pretty
and
awesome.
it's super awesome to see. But I kind of want to pivot here and kind of talk to you about how you got introduced into mountain vibes within this family, and how you kind of got into being a part of this group, dude. I don't know your story. I know my story and how I got introduced into mountain vibes and Justin and Emily. But kind of talk about that. How did you hear about mountain vibes?
Justin, actually, he found me on social media one day and on Instagram, and we started chatting, and we realized we had very, very similar life stories and things in life that we had done and passions. And I had just torn my ACL in a contest up at White Pass, and he sent me a swag bag and was like, "Don't worry about it." He's like, "You're a freaking rad dude, and I hope you heal up soon." And I came back after that injury, and I was super. When I had my injury, I was very much had the mindset of people tear an ACL and it ends their snowboarding career, or they come back strong. I said, I want to be one of those guys that comes back strong, and I did. And I stayed in contact and learned even more about what he was doing through the process, through my healing process, and more and more conversations. And I was like, this guy is going to change the industry. This guy is doing something special. Not a lot of people do that. And now there are so many other organizations that are very similar that have started up because of that. They see what he's doing and the level, the size of what he was doing. And I thought that was so amazing. And we just stayed connected. And then one day he offered me to be a rep for him. I said, dude, anything I can do to support and be a part of this, because I would love to be a part of this. And yeah, we did that. He came down to Hood for a weekend. Yes. Yeah, no worries. I can take him. Hey, big guy, you got a new bear. There you go, buddy. But we did a whole Mountain Vibes weekend on Hood, which was amazing. We had a great time. I remember the weather was just absolute shit. So I felt bad. All these guys from Big Bear came up with them and uh, came to Mount Hood, and it was just socked in, low visibility, and the snow wasn't very good and raining. And I kind of felt bad because these guys are used to thick, nice weather and slushy snow, and we just made the best of it. And we had a great time on hill, and then we all went down to government camp. I think we went to the Ratskiller and had a couple drinks and a bunch of pizza and vibed out and set it more in stone. And eventually I went down to I did a trip down to Big Bear. I did 3 weeks in Big Bear a few years ago, and I stayed an extra day so I could do a Mountain Vibes event with him. We had a bunch of guys that came up from, I can't remember the program. He was in cahoots with a program from East LA, bringing like gang members and stuff up to the mountain. We taught him how to snowboard. The way the morning started for all those kids versus how they were at the end of the day was polar opposites. They were all nervous and standoffish in the morning, and at the end of the day, it was smiles on everybody's faces, and you could tell how much we changed and influenced their life. And it was so cool to see people discover snowboarding that probably there was a few people there that had never even seen snow. And
Yeah.
that was so freaking rad and amazing. And that right there was changed my whole life right there. Doing that. Well, he's playing with my snowboards now.
You got a terror. It's the same with
Right.
my kids.
Oh yeah. He's a handful. But he's the best handful, huh, buddy?
This last episode, I had to pause a couple times because my kids were my my daughter is 3.5 and my son's just over 2. There you go. Yeah, you go. Rock the Friday, bro.
Right. He knows what's up.
But I had to pause a couple times because they kept fighting in the room next to me. And I heard, yeah. And I'm like, what is going on? Stop hitting your sister.
That's so funny. Kids,
Yeah, that's
man, they're
funny, dude.
freaking rad.
But yeah,
Um,
kind of like speaking on Justin, it's the same vibe, dude. I can't tell you how much I badgered Justin when I first found out about Mountain Vibes, and I was trying to just be a rep. I was like, dude, I want to be a rep. I want to be a rep. I want to be a rep. Here's my post. I'll tag you. I'll do all this stuff. I'll message you. And in my recruitment call, back when we did those recruitment calls and stuff, Justin was like, we had like a bunch of people on that call, and he was like part of this fucking program because now I see it, dude. Like the Chill Foundation technically doing it, all these other groups. And I talk to Justin all the time about it because we're talking, at least once a week. I'm like, dude, these guys are doing what we used to do. We got to get back to it, dude. We got to go. We got to get events back to it. We got to do this. It's all coming back together. Like we got to get this thing going. So I think big things are going to be happening within the next year, and we're going to be back.
Oh, that's right.
I have plans to come to Hood, and have a whole crew and have all the Mountain Vibes homies from that area and going out and riding and doing podcast stuff, and and then in the future we're going to be back doing events. So it's going to be rad.
Absolutely. One thing about Mountain Vibes that I think I love most is everywhere I go, I meet people that are associated with it or know what it is. And it's just like, it's a conversation starter. And I've made a lot of friends through Mountain Vibe in that process throughout my travels and everything. And I think one of the funniest things that happened to me with Mountain Vibes, I was kind of hit and miss for a bit. I wasn't sure what was going on. And, and that was when I found out he has like thousands of people that hit him up every year to get on Mountain Vibes. So it's a pretty grueling process to get in on it. But he hits me up one day and says, "Hey man, we need to talk." I was like, "Oh man, this is my you're fired phone call."
Yeah.
Like, all right, I understand there's freaking people out in the world that are way better than me and are closer to California and all this stuff. And he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, do you want to be a team rider?" What? I was expecting to be let down and like be bummed out, but try to stay positive, because everything happens for a reason. And he asked me, he goes, "Dude, you don't have to be the best. It's the vibe that you put out on the mountain. It's all I ever see you do is like bring other people up and coach people," which is true. Like I enjoy bringing people. If I can get my homie to land a trick they've been working on, I find more satisfaction in that than learning my own trick sometimes.
Right.
Which is, I mean, maybe it's because you get to see it and you see their face light up versus you can't see your own face light up, But yeah, that was a pretty wild experience because I was like, shit, dude. All right. Like, I'm down. What a freaking honor, And been ever since then. And he has people like Nate House. That dude is an absolute unit. And
Yeah,
Jason Garmy, and there was so many times that I see all these people and I'm like, dude, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. But I'm just so appreciative of him, And then
that's the
here,
that's the great thing about mountain bikes, dude. Is it's we like you appreciate the skill level of the riders, of course. You always appreciate
absolutely.
the skill, but you appreciate the human that they are and the fact
Yeah,
that they give back into the community, which is what it's all about, man. And
exactly.
that's what
Exactly.
I've always been about. Like, give back to this community that gave us everything. Like, I didn't know what I was doing before I found snowboarding, Ken. I was a little Grom, down in Southern Oregon that, kind of went around for a while up through high school. And then I just lost it for the longest time. I got on the wrong path during that time. But then, fast forward like 7 years later, I get back into snowboarding and it's everything. And now and it creates family, it creates everything. Like, if you feel good about yourself and what you want to do, even though, like, I was listening to the most recent bomb hole, and Jeremy Jones says, like, we're conditioned to give up skateboarding at a young age. We're conditioned to give up snowboarding at a young age because that's what society says that we should do. We should give up these things that are childish. And
Mhm. Never
like,
want to grow
I'm
up.
I'm never gonna do that, dude. Like, because why would I do that when this thing has given me everything in my life? And
Absolutely.
and now I can hand it down and get stoked on seeing my kids get stoked about it. And even if they don't get stoked about it, just like a mountain vibes event, like, if a kid isn't stoked to go ride, you'd be like, "What are you into, dude? Like, playing the piano." Okay, dude, let's go to the lodge and talk about playing the piano and chill and have a nice time and chill in the sun or whatever we want to do and have a good time and just enjoy the
Exactly.
snow and talk about that, dude. Like, that's what it's
Hmm.
all about. So that's why I was so stoked to have you on the podcast, because you've been one of the day one homies at Mountain Vibes and you know what it's all about. And so that's why it's been so cool to get to chat with you and get to see this little gremlin going, dude. That's like my
Yeah.
kids. They like to get into
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He just wants to be into everything.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing something, he's got to be right there doing it too.
Yeah. That's right, dude.
But
Well, cool,
which I
dude.
love too.
We've kind of chatted about your story, how you got into the family, what it means to you. I saw you on I didn't see you, but I heard you kind of send in a question to Hood Report the other week, and it got shouted out on the podcast. And so that was sick to see, dude. Like,
Yeah.
when you're part of this sport and you're part of this lifestyle, like, seeing like stuff like that, like, shit, like, Northwest Skate Flake is on the Hood Report, like, so and so is on the bomb hole. Like, these people that
Yeah.
we get to interact with, and like, it's all part of the community. That's what I'd love to see, dude. I'd love to see all that kind of stuff. So it's
Dude, I
that's
love it. The industry's a lot smaller than you would think.
right.
And you
They
I
try to make it big, but I don't feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like we're always
right,
gonna kind
right,
of keep
right.
it within ourselves.
Absolutely. And you meet so many people throughout the your time snowboarding. Say hi. But
Yep.
you meet so many people that the world just like, and they go out. They especially that's one thing I love about Mount Hood is I've met so many people, and then they leave and they go do their thing, and it's so cool to watch them go off and spread their wings and go do whatever they're
Right.
doing wherever they're going. You know, I met this one homie, Jack Yale, and I would just see him at the rope tow all the time. And he was really good, but he wasn't sponsored or anything like that. Super core snowboarder, always focusing on perfecting his tricks and just going hard all the time. Very humble, quiet guy. And then one year, he showed up and he started a company called More on Wax. And
Yep.
then last year, that company blew up. And it was
Right.
so and then he dropped a movie, a full length snowboard film. And then I went down to it was a couple years ago. I think he dropped that actually. But when I went down to Big Bear on my trip, I was cruising and I roll up into the lift line, and here was this dude sitting right there on the lift line. I was like, dude, what are you doing down here? And he's like, oh, I'm just filming with Lucas Magoon and working on this video part. I was like, you're with Lucas right now? Like, what?
Doing it
And
again?
Right. And which that's a dude that I grew up watching his video parts,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he
and take it
careful, Bubba.
down, dude.
Right. But I just want to ride it. But I was like, how do you know that guy? And he's like, oh, we used to couch surf on the same or in the same living room.
Yeah,
Small world, dude. That's wild.
that's
So,
so sick.
but and now he's living up in that Jack's living up at Mount Baker, I believe.
Yeah,
So doing a lot of split boarding actually. I
right,
was talking to
right.
somebody about that today. They were, Kyle, you ever split board? Or do you have a split board? I said, no.
There it goes.
I you good, buddy?
I love it, dude.
I'm gonna set it down so you can play with it. There you go, pal. Now he's
There you
standing
go.
on it.
There
But
you go.
he just wanted to
Get your
ride it.
feet in the bindings, bro.
Right? Oh yeah.
He's
That's
fine.
our but it's I've never been split boarding, but I want to. It's
Yeah,
just
I've
that's like the most expensive corner of snowboarding.
yeah, I got into it relatively cheap. I bought a split board off of a fellow instructor when I first moved up here to Schweitzer,
Okay.
an old school one, and I've literally just taken it up the mile when I've been back at Hood and like early and late season vibes at Schweitzer before the lifts open, and so I
Yeah.
do that, and I don't have a beacon or probe yet. I have a shovel, but as
Gotta
soon
get
as I
on
get
that
those
one.
things, like I'll go out and do like I would love to go out and do that kind of stuff and kind of keep it mellow and stuff. Like I never really want to do anything too gnarly, but I kind of so dude, let's get into some hot takes right now. As far as like your favorite, take me into a day at Hood that would be perfect for Kai. Like what would you be
Ooh,
doing and who are you gonna be with?
I got early morning. Let's go up the mile, get some pow flashes, go out wide into the side country. Then make your way down for some Conway's laps with my boy Tabor. Shout out
Nice.
Tabor Wait, because that kid's an animal. And we got a whole squad that we usually ride with. Um, I do that and then leave a little early, a little afternoon, head down for some rope tow laps early afternoon before it gets packed, right after they open, and rope tow laps with the homies. And then maybe head up, go grab a beer, and then head up to the yard and
Nice.
get a little hiking in. Got
Cool.
I try to get into the yard almost every time I'm up there. Uh, the one of the coolest things about Mount Hood is being able to catch some PAL laps and then mob right down below it and go snag some park laps. So
Love that answer, dude. That's like my dream is like PAL laps at PALS, the Timberline, PAL laps in the upper bowl at
yeah,
Ski Bowl, and then hitting the rope toe towards the end of the
absolutely.
night. Yeah.
I think a perfect
Um,
day would being able to take the Glade down
right.
in between. So
Really? Yeah. But whichever one's better, Glade or Alpine. You know what I mean?
I prefer the Pine, but the Glade takes you into the middle of town, so you don't have to
That's
walk as
true.
far.
That's sick. Okay, so Rathskeller or Charlie's?
Ooh, depends on the vibe, to be honest. If I'm like just
Okay.
trying to chill, I'm gonna go to the Ratskiller. I think they have better
Nice.
food, but
Him.
the vibe at Charlie's is firing all the time.
Right. Some of your favorite
So,
snowboarders might be at Charlie's at any given moment. So
facts. Your
yeah,
favorite snowboarder is gonna be at Charlie's, definitely.
cool. Are you a silent rock believer?
100%, hundred
Not deep.
percent. Yeah, every time.
Good man.
Yeah. I've gotten smoked after talking through Silent Rock one time. Like, oh man, and yeah, I got smoked that day. So
Hey, if the three is
ever
good,
since that day, no, firm believer.
there you go. I want to hear. So, if you could pick three people to be in a heli trip, it could be a heli or a cat trip, but it's like dream location, dream three people, and it could be anybody. It could be celebrities, it could be pro snowboarders, it could be your homies. Who are the three people, and where are you at in the heli or the cat?
Ooh, Alaska, and
Nice.
I'm taking Tabor for sure. I'm taking uh, let's see, probably Lake,
Nice.
and I'm probably taking my wife.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice. I like that.
yeah.
Cool, dude. Okay, rapid fire. Pants or bibs?
Ooh, pants, sag all day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Goggles or glasses?
Ooh, goggles. My face
Okay,
gets cold.
there you go. Slush or pow?
Ooh, slush. Can't beat it.
Sweet. Okay. Conway's Thunder spray paint or schoolyard?
Ooh, Conway's.
Sweet.
That's where the party's at.
Favorite run on Mount Hood if you had to pick one?
Conway's? Nah, let's say bone zone, top to bottom. So
Let's
upper bone
go.
zone, yeah, upper bone zone and lower bone zone. So
All the
it's
way
a leg
through,
burner, but all the way through.
all the way through the WF. The WF,
Yeah,
the waterfall.
the waterfall.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Did you ever, have you ever found that waterfall that's, I think Sam Klein and the Connor brothers did it? They dropped an iPhone or an iPad edit back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude.
yeah,
I've
it's
been
like
there.
supposedly down on Molly's. I've never found
Yep.
it, but I hear it's down there. But that was one of the craziest
I
clips
was
I've ever
lucky
seen.
enough to know. I was lucky enough to know some big timers like Mike Jennings, Big Mike,
Okay.
and Steve in ski school. And those guys had been there for so long and they knew every single inch of the mountain and they had no problem taking their newbies out and being like, dude, it's fucking good out there. Fucking ride this fucking shit. You never
That's
even know
sick.
what it is.
That's so rad.
And that's when people hate on Timberline and they call it flatline, I'm like, dude, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about because you don't even know don't say flatline. You just don't know where the fuck you're going.
You
If
should
you knew
just
where you're
scoot
going,
over and go to Meadows.
seriously, like if you want to
Shorter
go to
lift
Meadows,
lines.
that's totally fine. But like learn how to go down the hill and like Timberline is not flatline. It's sick.
Yeah,
So
it's got the perfect slope. There's steeps if you know where they're at and you're looking for them. And
yeah,
yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
for real, dude. All right, sick, dude. Well, I just want to say, dude, thank you so much for your time, Kyle. I'm gonna let you get back to your family. Um,
Absolutely.
and I appreciate, you donating your time to Mountain Vibes and you coming on to the podcast. And with that, we're going to close this one out. And thank you all. Thank you all to the listeners for joining in and donating your time as well. And with that, this has been another episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.